So welcome everyone to our presentation. Madeline McMahon is here and she is ready to share with us all of the secrets of AI and marketing. But before we get to her presentation, I want to tell you a little bit about SCORE. In case you don't know, we're a nationwide nonprofit organization, which is a resource partner of the Small Business Administration. We provide free, confidential business mentoring, and we have over 300 chapters nationwide with over 10,000 volunteers. I am one of these volunteers and a mentor, and I am in the Minnesota chapter, which is a portmanteau of Manatee and Sarasota counties in Florida. I'm sorry, I just got distracted by someone commenting. Um, our chapter was recently named a chapter of the year. Next. So when you're thinking about going to SCORE to ask for help, what phase of your business should you be in? And truly anywhere in the business process. Are you pre-startup? Did you just wake up and think of an idea and want to kick it around with someone? Well, we'll be happy to do that with you. Or you've started and you realize that you need some help. We can help you with that. You want to grow your business, or lastly, you want to sell or close your business. We have people who are dedicated to that aspect of business as well. So think about applying for a SCORE mentor. Go to score.org/Minnesota and click on the Find a Mentor button. Click. Lastly, I'd like to thank our sponsors and community partners. These are the folks that help us keep the lights on, including the SBA. We are a partner with them, as I mentioned before. You'll notice that a lot of these sponsors are financial institutions. If you come into a financial institution with a whole bunch of papers, they're going to not listen to you very well. But if you come in with a SCORE mentor and a business plan, it's going to turn out much better for you. So consider getting that SCORE mentor. Click. And I think you're ready to go,
I think it's
Madeline. It's up
me.
to you.
Excellent. Excellent. And I jumped right in. So I did skip right past that title slide. I'm so sorry. We'll have to go back and look at it. It was
No, we
very,
don't
very
need it.
beautiful. But
Nope.
harnessing AI for marketing. So talking about ChatGPT to boost your small business. So the reason I'm not presenting yet is I'm actually going to dive right into a demonstration. Hello, my name is Madeline McMahon. I am a fractional marketing strategist. And the gist of that, for the sake of this conversation, is I help small businesses in startup phase leverage AI to take advantage of marketing opportunities that used to only be available to marketing experts. So instead of telling you my resume and things like that, I'm going to hop right over to chat. I'm going to ask chat to tell you a little bit about me. So before I do this, the reason I use ChatGPT, there's a lot of different AI out there, and it'll feel like I'm jumping the gun. I'm not, I promise. Hang in there. There's a lot of different AI options these days. My dad is a chief technology officer for a government contractor. I love telling this story. And like a year and a half ago, he told me he was using ChatGPT. And as soon as I knew that my IT very smart dad was using and paying for chat, I was willing to see what the hype was about. So I've been using ChatGPT for about a year and a half. I've been paying for it for I think about a year now. So this is fun. I have no idea what it's going to say, but I do know it knows me pretty well. So I asked it to, I did give it context. So it's going to be part of the presentation. I said that I'm giving a live presentation on how to leverage AI for creating marketing strategy. The title of this virtual presentation is Harnessing Marketing for AI. Can you please tell the audience who can see my screen about my business? And like, PS, this is a professional setting, right? So I did give it a little bit of context there because I'm hoping it will be polite. So let's see what it says in introducing you all to my business. I am glad to be here. Very excited. I am a fractional marketing strategist based in Virginia. I specialize in helping founders, nonprofits, and growing businesses translate big ideas into action through brand strategy, content development, and community-led marketing. That's pretty good. With over a decade experience in organic marketing and small business storytelling, I work alongside my partners and clients as a thought partner, not just a vendor, offering strategies that are not only creative but implementable with lean terms and limited budgets. I typically work with people who have just spent a lot of money on marketing and they don't know if it worked or not. So, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about how to use AI for marketing. Now, typically, I give this presentation in person and I'll ask for a show of hands on people who are using it, or I'll have everyone introduce themselves. But I do want to be respectful of this hour and I have a lot of cool things I want to show you. So, I'm just going to do the highlights. If anyone has any more questions about AI or the origin of AI, there are a lot of really cool things out there right now. Today, I just want to focus on some pro tips for marketing because, again, I specialize in organic marketing and I consider that when you pay with time, not so much paid ads, you spend your time to create your marketing strategy. So, AI in general is going to mimic human decision making for us. So that'll be important as we kind of adopt some of the mentality of marketing for AI. ChatGPT is a tool, it's a chat bot that assists with creating workflows, for example, or helping you with insights. And why it matters for you, and I'm hope you have some context with us today, it can matter because it can help automate some marketing tasks, sure, but I like to help people see the value of using AI as a tool to communicate with your vendors. So if you imagine, for example, when the internet first came out, it was kind of like going to a flea market or to a carnival. You know, you walk into different rooms and everyone's trying to sell you something, and there's all of these different places that you can go to get information. If you think of AI or ChatGPT more like a museum, now when you walk in, you have a curated director that can guide you through the questions and answers that you're looking for about a specific topic. So until recently, it used to be you had to have a college degree to understand some of the fundamentals of marketing, or you had to have certain certifications. And while I hope that our doctors and people of certain professions are still going through some college experience, the barrier of entry for information has drastically changed for us in the last couple of months, in the last couple of years. So I want to talk a little bit more about benefits of using AI specifically for marketing. It can help a lot with streamlining content creation, enhancing workflows in ways that save you time. It can help you to identify clear performance indicators for marketing. Now, this is a really big one, I find. And it can help you evaluate the return on investment. So, where this becomes important, I find, for business owners is an opportunity to ask questions about what should I be measuring in my marketing? What should I be looking for in return on investment? I imagine a lot of the business owners on this call are using social media, for example. Social media has become a big component of what we're doing in our marketing strategy these days. I talk to people almost every day that can't tell if their social media is working or not, right? So AI can help us to try to figure out what that means in a way that we can better connect with vendors and people that can help us accomplish those goals. I do want to pause for a second. Any questions off the top of anybody's heads? Or Diane, you want to let me know if you see a question come in?
Absolutely.
Okay,
None
excellent.
yet. Hmm.
Excellent. We do have a lot of people on the call. Please, at any point, ask a question. Again, I typically am able to work with audience reactions to some of the things I talk about in a way I can invite a question. Since I can't see your faces, please do feel very free to put anything into the chat. And I'm going to jump into demonstrations from this in just a minute. So going off of that idea, now we can go to tools like Gemini or like ChatGPT or Grammarly is another phenomenal example. And instead of starting with a blank space, we can now say, this is the type of business I have. Can you help me write social media posts? And see what those examples are. Or we can refine that a little bit more. We can say, this is the content that I've created. Can you help me improve it based on these criteria? And we'll get to some examples in a little bit. You can use it to draft newsletters and blogs. One of my favorite ways to use ChatGPT, and I do it on a regular basis, is to create blog content. It never starts with just one prompt. It's never just one question and answer. And again, I've been working in ChatGPT a long time, so it's gotten to know me really well. But this is a really great way to start from somewhere. So now, if you are going to hire a copywriter to write blogs for you, or if you do want to hire someone for paid media who can write your press releases, at least you kind of have some parameters. You better understand what to expect about the experience, because you can ask this resource that has all of this information for you. You can create engaging ad copy. I'm seeing an incredible surge in AI created ad spend. We're not going to cover that specifically today, but what I would hope you take from today is the ability to better vet what someone's talking about if they talk to you or try to sell you on AI paid ad strategy, right? No longer do we have to wonder what that vendor means. We have access to information that we don't have to pay for a degree to get to anymore. We have access to guidance that we don't have to pay an hourly rate for. If you invest in the paid subscription, and again, I'll give you guys examples. You can use it to generate fresh marketing ideas, analyze and optimize content performance. And I really like this one because that doesn't have to just mean your own. For example, I work with a company and I will go to their competitor's social media profile and I'll take a screenshot of that information and I can ask ChatGPT to determine why that piece of content performed the way it did. You know, there are a lot of really interesting questions that you can ask this tool to help you better understand what you're trying to accomplish. All right. Before we hop into a demonstration, without really knowing people's experience level, I do want to pause and remind you that AI is just a tool, and AI is a tool that is designed to give you what you are looking for. So it can and will provide misleading information if you give it misleading sources, or if you guide it with persuasive language. It will populate information that is technically incorrect. I've heard a story about a lawyer that was disbarred because his deposition referenced a case that didn't exist. You'd think your lawyer is double checking their ChatGPT, but no one is immune to human error in that sense, right? So an example I like to give is I work with someone who makes baby food. And I am constantly very weary of making claims or statements. And while I do not have legal training, I am not a lawyer. I will often talk to Chat and ask it if any of my language could be misinterpreted, or ask where I am vulnerable to claims or liability based on the content. And it will help me regenerate some of my verbiage in a way that better sets us up for success. So now, instead of paying the lawyer $500 an hour to review an extensive document that needs to be edited multiple times, maybe we're just submitting this one copywriting that they can take a look at. So that's how it helps you save some times. But again, it's really important to proofread. It's also important to understand that it will say what you want to hear. And the common term I'm hearing with that is hallucinate. AI will hallucinate and give you information that is not always correct. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you today is a tool to help feel more confident in the AI results that you're getting. So I'll get to that in just a minute. Let me see what I have next. So ChatGPT levels the playing field. This is what I was trying to kind of allude to before. When the internet was first created, people are now kind of comparing AI to the internet first being introduced. And I think one of the biggest differences between the internet being this infinite vast of information and AI is, again, that barrier of entry. You used to need to know how to find things on the internet, and people were always trying to sell you something in every component and at every part of that process. Now with artificial intelligence, you can get instant feedback on business plans. So when you go see your score mentor, when you start that conversation, you've got your thoughts in order because you were able to talk it through with AI. Or when you're stumped with something, it's no longer worrying about what a professional is going to cost. You can have AI help you understand what needs to be paid for, right? What is the do it yourself? What do you need to delegate? These are conversations that you can have with this different tool, and professional level insights, right? You no longer need a degree in financing to understand more about your account workflow, right? We no longer have to call a plumber and worry about our vocabulary and what's happening. We can use AI to help us articulate what it is we're trying to accomplish, right? Instead of just saying it's leaking from somewhere, I can take a picture of the problem and AI can tell me what's happening in a way that I can tell a vendor and they bring the right tools the right time. So, but we're going to get back to marketing. All right. So it can help you with quick drafts of things, including but not limited to your press releases and your grant applications. Now, again, this is not a magic bullet. This is not the one tool that will end all manual efforts. This is a part of your process. This is a part of a marketing vehicle, because things like grant applications still need that human component, right? You still need someone to execute the strategy that this will help you populate. You still need someone to review the analytics and have conversations about variances in your businesses. This can guide those conversations, but we're not yet at a point where it's just going to solve all of your problems for you. So when I talk a lot about AI, I like to remind people that having a learning mindset is crucial in this space, because AI is constantly evolving, tools are changing, and we do live in a world where everyone's trying to sell you something, right? So uh, the power is really in small business owners' hands if they're looking to invest a few minutes in asking some questions with artificial intelligence. So on-demand research, all of that good stuff. Okay, so help ChatGPT get to know your business goals. So I'm going to go into, I have a couple of different things that I want to show you all today. Again, I primarily use ChatGPT because that is the one subscription I pay for. I appreciate the argument for Gemini with Google because uh, Google is a lot of what I use in my workspace, right? I use a lot of Google-based products, but I speculate, I don't have any science on this. I speculate that Google responses are going to become more and more influenced. And I think we're starting to see sponsored automated responses when you Google something, because a huge revenue stream for Google is ad spend. And if your information, when someone Googles that they're looking for a plumber, if you're a plumber and you are now even further down because of fix it yourself suggestions at the top of the screen, right? Google needs to figure out how to keep getting that ad revenue from you. So another thing I like about ChatGPT is that it doesn't feel as influenced by paid ad strategy. Now, it was brought to my attention recently in an AI presentation that chat and all of these larger AI systems, they're pulling from data that has existed from a long time. And it was a really good reminder that unconscious bias is something that we're still struggling with, I think, in general as a society. And as a marketing person, I love using Reddit for social listening. And I will often reference how Reddit responses are prioritized when someone's searching for something. But Reddit's been around for a really long time. And Reddit has also been an outlet for a lot of different types of thoughts and feelings and emotions. And so when we remember that human influence impacts these search results, we also need to remember that there was a lot of human influence across those different generations and thoughts. So the first tool I want to show you actually is called Notebook LM. And you'll get, these are links that'll be included and all those good things. This is actually a Google product. This is something that is fairly new to me on my radar. But what I was really impressed with about this is this refines the information it pulls from to create your responses. So it bases its information off it bases its responses off of information that matters most to you. And what that means is instead of asking chat to write me a history report about George Washington, I can now specifically link .gov references. I can know that my information is only being pulled from credible places. Or I can pull from Google Documents of informations that I've been, say I've been taking notes for myself. I can pull those notes into this and it will just pull from those parameters. But this kind of helps puts almost like bumpers when you're going bowling, right? Like this kind of keeps you in a lane if you're trying to be more intentional about where the information is pulled from. What is very cool about this is when you talk about leveling the playing field, I also like this tool in education. I learned about this at an educators convention. If you have a student, for example, that's not responding to your lesson plan, you can potentially convert it into, or you can give them autonomy to convert that lesson plan into a study guide, frequently asked questions, briefing documents. The fun example I like to give, going again back to the, oh, actually, I did one for SCORE. Let's see, because I just did a presentation like this in Goochland. So I asked it to pull from SCORE and from Goochland. It will create a podcast style conversation. So if you have a child that's struggling with text and learning and you're looking to convert information, you can actually turn this into a conversation. I'm not sure if it'll let you listen to my audio. It's a little limited right now. It's just a man's voice and a woman's voice. But really, what's cool about this is that it only pulls from the examples I gave. So, giving a quiz with short answers and taking this back to marketing, where I might use something like this is to create informational quizzes about something related to my product or health or something related to my sales process, or this is something that you could potentially create an onboarding strategy for your new hires. There are lots of different ways that you can take advantage of this tool. I do imagine that this will be free because it's Google. I have absolutely no idea. This is notebooklm.google.com. I don't know how long things like these are going to be free. The other tools I'm going to show you today, everything has free options, but it feels like that's kind of subject to change. And on that note, I like to remind people of that when I'm talking about this too. It's important to understand the manual process that I'm going to go through next. It's not just about working faster and working smarter. It's about understanding the mechanics so that you're able to train someone else to replicate that behavior, or you're able to outline these standard operating procedures that allow you to scale and grow or go on vacation. You know, when I'm training people that work in the marketing department of their business, on creating these SOPs, I have in mind you going on vacation. You know, by putting all of these thoughts together, you're able to delegate this and grow. So can you hear that audio?
No.
No. Okay. All right. So I'll include a blurb in the follow-up of walking through this in case anybody needs any clarity. But this is Notebook LM, very cool tool. I've pulled in all kinds of different things. And again, the highlight of that is that it has parameters on what it pulls up for you. All right. So how we're going to use it for your business and marketing. I have this workbook that I'm going to share with everyone. And this is something that I've built over the last couple of months. This is, I think, the fourth time I've given this presentation. It's changed every single time because AI is evolving so much. So if you're watching the recording of this, it is May 2025, and all of this is subject to change, even in the next 10 days. No, I'm just kidding. I find it helps to start with prompts. I also find there are a lot of people selling training on AI that are effectively just walking you through doing prompts. So before I love training, I love education. I strongly encourage you to find free opportunities and local resources that can train you on AI before you invest in it. There are way better things you can invest your marketing dollars on than training on AI. So I'm going to give
Excuse
you
me, can
these
you zoom
prompts.
in a little
Yes.
bit?
Yes, I am, and I'm actually gonna take this over to ChatGPT. So,
Thank you.
um, I like to do, I typically anytime I talk to a potential new client, I do this process, right? So I will take very generic information that I can pull from their website to start the conversation with chat. So, all right. So I took the prompt right from that. It's I need to define clear marketing goals. My business is in the industry space you're in. We offer this product or service to this audience. Anybody willing to volunteer, industry, product, service, audience, or so I can fill in these blanks, or I can put in plumber if nobody
We,
says anything.
landscape.
Landscaping. Got
How's
it.
that?
Okay.
That's the industry.
Landscaping.
Pet sitting is another one.
All right, landscaping, in what area?
What kind of landscaping?
I put residential,
Florida.
Florida.
Mhm.
Okay. Southern Florida, northern maintenance. Okay.
Maintenance. Okay.
Maintenance design, Naples. Cool.
Current marketing includes
Residential landscaping,
Naples.
Naples. Are you on social media? You have a website? You do any paid advertising? Yes. So website, social, any paid? Okay. Social.
No to paid. Okay.
But are you struggling with finding new people or return customers? Genesis landscape. Um, what's your main struggle right now? Finding new customers or getting more business out of current customers? New customers.
Yes.
Okay.
New customers. Yep.
New customers. Okay. Typically, when I do this exercise, I don't even really read the first go at it. I work with ChatGPT to give it parameters of the conversation. So I didn't tell it the name of the company, or I didn't tell it if it was a specific ownership or anything like that. I'm just giving it some thought. All right. So I'm telling ChatGPT to act as a marketing person and consider these different parameters. So it gave me a couple. I'm going to go into my next one. Conduct market and competitor research. So now I'm going to give it a little bit more parameters on your specific business. So can you provide a summary of market trends in the industry space, include insights about major competitors, their marketing strategies? I'm not going to go that much into detail, but what's the trendiest thing happening in maintenance design right now?
Are you asking that question to our?
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Mulch.
mulch. Okay. Okay. Can you provide a summary of market trends in the um, um,
Landscape mulch, would you put in?
um, residential landscape mulch and multi service uh, providers? Example given is paint. Oh, planting. I thought that said painting. Yeah. Residential landscape mulch. Um, yeah. And All right, let's see what it says.
And you never know what you're going to get, and you never get the same thing twice, right, Madeline?
Never get the same thing twice. Wow. That's interesting. This one gave me pictures.
Yeah.
But so again, there's only so much I'm going to take into consideration here because it's not focusing on where you are. And I have to imagine there is some radius or territory. And so I got national brands, but regional, it's not as specific as I know it could be. Okay. So, but this is an example of having a conversation with chat. That's what I mean by iterating or talking to. I'm going to go down to, all right, and I'm going to make some assumptions based on what you've shared with me. Let's see if I have any other questions. My business offers,
Mhm.
um, fluent, like wealthy neighborhoods, apartment complexes, residential. Okay, cool. Can
Mhm.
you, so now I'm telling it to ask me questions to build a customer profile, including demographics, daily habits, challenges. So this can take you into a lot of different conversation starters. So what this is not going to do, this is not going to do the work for you in this landscaping outreach. But this might help you talk to a marketing manager or talk to someone like me who can help you better see opportunities of where you could invest marketing dollars versus what could you do yourself. Okay, so it gave me some information about demographics, or sorry, it's going to ask me who is most likely to hire you based on your services. So this is an example of something that would be potentially a good exercise before you go talk to your score mentor, right? You kind of worked through some of the ideas that you have in your head, and this is a way to have more intentional conversations. Now, I'm going to go a little bit off because I want to show you some other cool things and then keep going. So, do you, all right, let's see. I see a question come in. So, working on automating small business, paying for ChatGPT. Okay, so you're looking to have it automate outgoing messages, and you're having it you're looking for chat to connect with Google and your CRM tracker. Um yeah, so ChatGPT is a learning tool. It does not actually connect to the other platforms. So it can be integrated into other platforms, but it is not inherently ChatGPT on its own. Um, doesn't have like SMS text capabilities. You may be able to work with an AI pro on an integration, but you're looking for a feature that's a little beyond what just this website can do for us. Yes, you can ask it how. Yes, you can absolutely ask it how. So, let's see, what's a good example? I have a website for my business, but people that visit do not add anything to the cart. So let's assume that I have analytics installed on my website, right? I can see from analytics that people are visiting. What am I doing wrong? This would be really impactful with photos. This would be really impactful with a link, but I'm just going to ask it to show you an example of, yes, you can ask it how to do things. Well, it's asking me for clarity. Oh, if you're getting website traffic, but they're not adding products. So my hope is that this will help you, Caroline, get to the next question you have. An example that I like to give, I was helping with a website redesign, And my client sent me a website that she really liked, and I wasn't entirely sure that it was a template. I thought it looked like a custom design. So I actually asked ChatGPT, can you tell me if this website is a custom or a template? And it was able to tell me that it was custom. My client was using Shopify. So I was able to ask it, let me see. Can't even think of it. Let's do. All right, let's say I like the layout of this website. Can you tell me the name of the template they used? The website isn't publicly disclosed. It tells you the breakdown of the features. So what this helps me do now is I can go to a web designer, and there's a lot of difference in what you pay for a vendor, right? People suggest you get what you pay for. You might get a website designed for $5,000. You might get a website designed for $25,000. I think regardless of the route that you go, being able to ask AI how to articulate what it is you're trying to accomplish is potentially a game changer, right? So instead of saying, I like the top of this website, you can say, I like this hero section. I like this call to action, because it can outline for you what the possibilities are or what the vocabulary is of that. And then it's going to go a step further. It actually recommends similar templates in different platforms. So I was able to find 5 other Shopify templates that were comparable to what my client had in mind through asking ChatGPT. I've asked it how to help me with coding. I've asked it how to help me do a lot of different things. But where I always like to start in these conversations is basic prompts, right? This is who I am. This is what I'm trying to accomplish today. Can you help me do these things? Right. And then waiting until it gets me to questions that are what I was looking for. So another really cool way that you can use AI for marketing. Oh, I skipped a step. Sorry. Okay. So this morning, I was working on how to articulate what I do for engagement on social media so that I can train someone else on how to do it. So I gave ChatGPT a couple of different parameters. I said, I log into the social media profiles as the client. I engage with other activity, acting as a cheerleader. Can you help me create an SOP for how to do what I do so I can train other people on it? And it was able to help me create this outline. And it actually pulled this information from a PDF that I gave it because I wanted them to use that specific demographic for this example. So we're now at a place where you can go into ChatGPT and feed it a PDF and an email and ask it to generate a response for you. And this is not in an effort to eliminate the human step. Again, it's really important to understand the mechanics. It's important to understand feeding it different resources to get the outcome. It's important to understand proofreading, because this is a tool that is designed inherently to say things to make you happy, and you need to make sure it's not just inflating your ego, it's actually accurate, right? That's the line there. But I've really enjoyed using it to organize and outline thoughts. I've used it to analyze different data sets. And I always start with public information. So when I'm putting in these different prompts, and this is, before I even meet with a client, I'm using what I can get from their website. And every time I've done this, I've been told that this document is more intuitive than the business plan that they put together. So, but this doesn't actually do the work for you. So I'm going to give you guys these prompts so that you can take a look and go through them. This is an example of something I had it made this morning. So it created this training strategy outline for me. It gave me all these different components. I did take a quick glance at it, but the tool I want to show you. So today I've used ChatGPT. I showed you Notebook LM. This is one of my favorite free tools right now. So, as a marketing person, it's often people just expect that I'm creative. I am creative, but creative is not, I think creative has a scope, right? Like we can be really good at lots of things and not be good at everything. I can't make infographics. Friends, my brain just can't. I don't know why. Can't. Too many boxes, too many lines. I spend hours in Canva trying to make infographics, right? So I came across this tool through LinkedIn. I don't even remember what he was trying to sell, but this was a tool that he showed, and I have been using it for a couple of different months now. When I use napkin.ai, I only put in information that is already established because I don't. It's free. It's open. I have absolutely no idea what I'm feeding information to. So when you hear warnings about being selective about what information you give to AI, that is something I take into consideration. I do try to be mindful of the information that I feed it. With Napkin AI specifically, I only put in, like I said, information that's been published. So if I write a blog for a client, I'll put it into Napkin AI, and then it will generate infographics for me. So infographics and lots to choose from. It's pretty awesome. And then you can also have it change the font, change the style. There are, I mean, this would have taken me hours to put together in Canva or in Google Slides. Now you can put information into this and it will intuitively create infographic visuals for you.
Excuse me, Madeline, are you saying
Mhm.
napkin like the napkin that you use at lunchtime?
Yep. Napkin. Yep. Napkin.
Okay.
Think of it like you're writing notes on a napkin, really, is how I think of it with this. But it has all of these different resources. And so I find this is invaluable for nonprofits, right? Or if you're a startup that's really in do-it-yourself phase, you're really getting started, these visuals might help you develop that business plan or help you feel more confident when you're displaying information. I've really enjoyed exploring napkin.ai. Now, similar to ChatGPT, it is a little bit different every time. I don't always get the same chart twice, but they are making updates and things like that. Like I was able to add a brand kit to it, but these have even updated in the months that I've been using it. So napkin.ai is one of my favorite tools. I generate the content and the outline and the structure in ChatGPT, and then I put it into Napkin AI for those different visuals. Um, Questions about that specifically? Anything specific about Napkin AI or transferring information from one place to another?
Everybody's happy.
Cool. All right. So the gist of that demonstration, AI can help you set clear marketing goals for your sanity, for your marketing manager's sanity, for the um, banker that you're looking to talk to. AI can help you set those goals, and giving it prompts helps that. So sometimes it helps to have kind of that workbook component. That's why I converted it into that Google document. But really, it's a lot of copy and paste and then iterating, continuing the conversation. But it can take some of those hours of market research out of the way. I mean, I can remember I used to shop competitors. It was, you had to call, go to their office. There are new creative ways that we can shop what our competitors are doing. Napkin AI is not an app to my knowledge. It's just a website that I go to. I just type it right into do yeah, just this visual AI for business storytelling. And if my screen looks weird, it's because I have keyword research plugged in because I'm a super nerd. Yeah, sure. So I have a couple of them in here. So I make a blank napkin and let's just do this. I paste text. So this is something I wrote in ChatGPT and then I pasted it in here. And then you got to kind of work with it. You're looking for this like lightning bolt automation, and that's what's going to
Mm.
And then you just kind of got to talk to it a little bit. You can go in and change all these graphics. You can change the
Mhm.
font. And again, this is a free tool right now. There's nothing in it for me if you all use or don't use it. But I'm not going to lie, it makes me very happy when I see my clients' social media feed and I see these things because I know that it took them so much less time, right? This isn't about. A lot of people talk about cheating or lazy. By the time I'm done with something, this is something I made, right? I had to know to put these words in an order. I had to convert it from one tool to another. I decide on which visual it is that people are going to look at. That is a lot of work. Now, on time with that idea, we used to pay those experts because of years of experience, right? I talked about barriers of entry and the plumber example, you know, or another example is a graphic designer. You hire a graphic designer to make you a custom logo and they sketch you something in minutes and then tell you it's going to be thousands of dollars. And you're like, what? That took you 5 minutes. Why is that thousands of dollars? And the response is, no, you paid for 40 years of experience or 30 years of experience. You don't have to have those years to have access to the information today. I'm not saying that you're going to become a plumber and a doctor and a marketing expert, but you can now really lean into your curiosity and ask better, different questions, or you can vet the people that you want to talk to. You can outsmart competitors, but remember, unfortunately, none of us are special anymore now, and that all of us have access to this. So I don't worry so much about the race for people to lose or gain jobs. I want business owners on this call and in this conversation to see the value of leaning in. You don't have to use it for your business to understand that your competitors are and how they're doing it, right? People don't have to know your proprietary information to take screenshots of your website and ask AI to assume things, and they're usually pretty spot on. So there's again, there's a lot of insecurity about personal information and data. I think that's very important. And we need to remember that this is a subscription that we have, not something we own. I remind people all the time, I could log in tomorrow and ChatGPT could cease to exist. Is that likely? No. But I don't want to be in a position where I lose everything, all my work, all my projects, all my things, because I'm not putting it into a document, for example. So you still need to take responsibility for your work. You still need to take responsibility for the action. And again, kind of keeping up to date on what the tools are, what's available, how to leverage them, even if it's not you personally doing it, even if it's you delegating it to it. Um, yeah. So I typically, the question was about saving the drafts. I export the work I have completed. Because again, in my opinion, by the time I get to this and it's done, when I copy and paste, that's my iteration, that's my work. I want it saved. I want that something in a platform that I have. It's something I can download, for example. And again, I don't mean to scare anyone in assuming that AI is going anywhere, but it's a reminder that you don't inherently own ChatGPT or how it processes or how much you have to pay per month. I think a turning point in a lot of software and technology in the last couple of years have been businesses increasing prices for customers that can't afford to leave the software. So remember, save your work. Remember to make sure that you're giving credit for things, and also remember to vet and cite sources. One thing I've noticed that is really frustrating, I have a task in my chat GPT where I think it might be once a week, every day or once a week. It will give me networking events that may not be on my radar between a certain radius. And it often will. It'll send me networking things I didn't know were going on. But multiple times, the link that it's given me to the event has not been a valid URL. So don't assume just because it says sources, don't assume just because it's got this that it's going to go where you think it's going to. That one worked, but I'm just saying it's not always. And, like silly things like I have told ChatGPT, I legitimately can't even count any more times not to use emojis when it populates things for me. And every freaking time, friends, I have to go through and delete. I didn't do it here on purpose so I could show you. It's not perfect, but it learns your style. You can give it different voices, different templates. I think the biggest change from this presentation that I'm giving today, from the first time I gave it, it wasn't as simple as take a screenshot and submit it. I am not proud of this, but I couldn't find a ruler yesterday. So I made 2 lines on a piece of paper and I took a picture and I asked chat how long it was. And it worked. And like I had leftovers the other day and I didn't know what to do with them. And my grandmother was really mad at me for this. I'm not entirely sure why, but I told it I had an air fryer, a stove, and a microwave, and I wanted to reheat this item. And it gave me how to do it in all 3 options. I think the power is in permission to ask questions. You are allowed to ask questions. You are allowed to decide different things. One of my favorite things to do is to have it counteract me, or I will ask it, what am I missing? Things like that. So I also like to use it as that evaluation tool for those different metrics. And I can say, if my performance was this month and I want to increase this by 5%, what can I do? And it will give you ideas, and you don't have to take all of them. But the idea of idea validation and feedback, I think, is really powerful. You will receive a recording of the webinar. There is not, okay, so that's a great question. Is there a way to block AI search results? The internet is forever, period. If you type something in and press enter, the internet is forever. I think that will be a popular sales and marketing thing coming up in the next couple of years. People are probably going to sell you privacy. Right now, that's not really a promise anybody could keep. I speculate that major companies may create their own versions of AI coding to keep it proprietary. But I think the example that was used last week was someone put in something about themselves and they were horrified at how much information was available. And I reminded everyone in the room, it's public knowledge when the deed to your house changes hands. Right? Like a lot of the things we do are actually already available online. No one's just told the internet to connect the dots yet. So this is really just a reminder to protect yourself intentionally. There are insurance and safeguards you can get, but you cannot block anyone from finding what's on the internet. Now, I can't ask it to give me your business plan. It won't work like that. But what it will do is it will assume what your business plan is. And the scary thing is it might have a better business plan than you do. Harsh truth, right? So again, even if you're not using it yourself, remember that your competitors can and will be using this type of technology.
I was
Did that?
researching
Yeah.
I was researching recently and wanted to know how this company made money. It was not clear from what I could discern going through. And yeah, sure enough, it just figured it out.
Which is scary, but also empowering,
Empowering.
right? I like to remind people it's not a competition. There is enough space for everyone. Imagine what next looks like if we all have the space and the tool. And I think there's going to be some resistance to that, and I think there are going to be people that take advantage of that. There always are. So again, the message I try to repeat is just know what's out there so that you can be prepared to respond. If you're not proactive and you want to wait and see, it's good to know what other tools people are using. Um, so presentation development, I skipped over that a little bit, and role playing really quick. I love putting information into it and having it make slide decks for me. That's something else I'll
Mm.
use for marketing. I can convert a blog into social media content with AI, that type of thing. It is also interesting for role playing. I've talked to many people that have created their own coach bots. I was talking to someone that uploaded their personality results into a bot within chat and asked it to create like a version of themselves. There's lots of stuff that you can do with it. You don't have to do everything, right? This is just an effort to show you what some possibilities are and encourage you to ask questions. You're not going to break chat, right? This can simplify. Um, I do like to also, one other thing I like to remind people of, this is a lot of fun, right? Like you can keep going and keep asking it questions, and there's all kinds of research and things that it can do for you. Don't end up sitting here for 2 hours having fun, not actually producing something, right? Like whether it's a timer you put or specific prompts that you fall through or that you follow through, I don't want you to end up going on an expedition on ChatGPT and then getting mad at me later that you wasted time, right? We need to think of this as giving us minutes back in our day and evaluate how we want to spend those or what we expect our vendors to be doing with those minutes, right? Because if something used to take an employee a task 2 hours that now takes 5, what do you have that employee do with the rest of that time? Right? That's something else that we need to be thinking about and having conversations about. So um any last minute questions about anything? You guys are going to get all of this. You'll see all these different prompts. You're going to get this workbook. I hope you enjoyed seeing Notebook and Napkin. Again, I don't have any affiliation to those. I just think they're incredible tools I like to use. And this is not something I sell as part of my business. I just love talking about it. So if anybody needs anything, please let me know. I love talking about AI and how to leverage it as a tool. Um,
Tom, our education director, Tom LaHood, would like to have a word or two. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Diane. I appreciate the time you've taken to be with us, and special thanks to Madeline carving out time of her busy day to develop and present the content today. I wanted to let everyone know on the call that we will be bringing back Madeline for a part two to expand more on the AI in marketing sometime in July or even August. So be on the lookout for our newsletter where you will find more information about those programs and be able to sign up. So again, thank you to everyone who attended. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Madeline.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madeline. But as you can see from the slide that Madeline has up, if you're interested in a mentor, we've made it pretty easy for you. Either go to our website, score.org/Minnesota, or all you have to do is scan that QR code and you'll get there pretty quickly. You can choose your own mentor if you like. Maybe ask ChatGPT who your mentor should be at SCORE. You can have a SCORE mentor from anywhere around the country. Maybe that's a prompt that we'll put in next time. So thank you all for coming. It was a great presentation. I've taken many notes, and I hope that other people have as well. And I look forward to your next presentation, Madeline.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I hope this is helpful and encouraging and empowering and useful. And again, if you're watching the replay, this is all subject to change.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you so much. Bye all.
Bye.